welcome to our do-it-yourself setting up your own home workstation as ergonomically ideal as possible. Unfortunately, our bodies aren't really designed to sit all day, so there's two ways you can minimise the impact. The first is to ensure that you're in the best alignment you can be while you are sitting, and the second is to keep your body as active as possible. So firstly, sticking with the best alignment, starting from the feet. Ideally, your feet are either flat on the floor or your toes can be slightly raised if that feels better for you. The idea of that is if both your feet are flat on the floor, it puts even weight through your bottom and you sit evenly on your two sitting bones. The second thing coming up to is the angle in the knee, which should be at 90 degrees. The next angle, which is really important, is the angle of the hip. And this here should be 90 degrees or slightly more. This is a really important one that we don't want to be squashed in here. When we're squashed in here, we can end up with that slump back. So to achieve this, the first thing that's important is the height of the chair that we're sitting on. You can see here that this chair is quite a good angle for me because it gets a 90 degree at my hip and a 90 degree angle at my knees. If my chair was too high, I can end up with a slightly greater angle than 90 degrees, which isn't necessarily a problem, but the problem is I can't put weight properly through my feet, which can put more strain through your body. An option that some people like is to sit on a chair where you tuck your feet under. As you can see here, that makes that angle bigger than 90 degrees. So if you want to sit on your home chairs like this, no problem. If my chair is too low, which we sometimes see, you can end up with squashing that angle again and my knees being too high. If your chair at home is too low, a great thing you can do is put a cushion or something even firmer underneath to lift you up slightly to get that angle there. The next part that's important is the alignment of the spine. So ideally your ear will be over your shoulder, over your hip. One of the most common things we see is people slouching. So to help with this, something that might help is having a little rolled up towel behind the curve of your back and sitting there to help with that, or you can get proper lumbar curves. The next thing is thinking about your arms. If your arms are too high or too low, you can end up shrugging up your shoulders. So ideally for your arms to rest comfortably, there's a 90 degree angle at your elbow. It's 90 degrees is coming in quite a bit, isn't it? So to show you, obviously if your chair has arm rests on it, making sure that they're the height that your shoulders can hang nice and comfortably. If you don't have arm rests, you may find that rather than sitting at about this distance to your desk, you might even want to shift them a little bit closer so that your arms can relax on your desk. As you can see, now we come to desk height. This desk height is a little bit too high for me to rest my hands on it with maintaining that 90 degrees. So again, you may even need a second something underneath you to decide whether having your chair at the perfect height or having your desk at the perfect height, it is what's going to be best for you at home. So our angle here is 90 degrees. Our desk height means that our arms can be relaxed by our side and there's no tension in our shoulders. The next thing that's going to allow us to keep that ear over shoulder over hip is the height of our monitor. You can see here our setup we've got is a separate screen to a laptop, which means that I'm looking straight ahead at this screen rather than down at this screen, which means that my ear isn't on top of my shoulder and can end up with a lot of tension through my shoulders. So that's fantastic if you can do that. If you don't have the option for that, another thing you can do which will improve the situation is grab something, just got a few books here, put them underneath as high as you can lift it that you can still work comfortably, and then working on here. It's not perfect, but it's slightly higher than what it was before. The other thing that we want to think about is our wrists. So when our wrists are on an angle all day, it can crush in here and cause wrist tension. So ideally we want our wrists to be flat the whole day. Something you can do if it helps with you is grab something rolled up. This is probably a little bit too big, and you can rest that under your wrist so that it keeps that arm nice and flat. So those are the components about keeping ideal alignment. To recap, you want ideally your feet flat on the floor, a 90-degree angle in your knee, a 90-degree angle or more in your hip, and your ear over your shoulder, over your hip. Putting a little curve behind your back, a little cushion behind your back may help. Having your screen at eye height, your shoulders relaxed, and your forearms and wrists in a straight line. The other component is keeping yourself as active as you can during your sitting period. So have ideally some way every 30 to 60 minutes that alerts you. It might be something that comes up on your computer, an alarm on your phone, getting one of your family members or your kids to come in and remind you every so often. And then we just do a couple of simple movement activities. The first one is just to roll our shoulders backwards a couple of times. The second one is to bend backwards over our chair, extension in the upper back. Take your arms out to the side and look upwards. And then coming down to our lower body, I'll turn to show you. Crossing our ankle over our opposite knee, sitting up straight in that ideal alignment, keeping that ideal straight spine and leaning forward. You'll feel this one into those glutes and those piriformis muscles. While you're doing this, take your head over to the opposite side if that feels comfortable. After you've held that one for a few seconds, cross over to the other side, sitting up straight, leaning forward there, and bending that head over to the opposite side. Coming back up to straight again, stretch those legs out in front of you and bend back and forward those toes a couple of times. Hopefully those tips can help you creatively adapt your do-it-yourself home workstation slightly more effectively for you. Please give us any feedback or any other tips that you might have to help other people. We also have another ergonomics video about how to set up your desk when you have got all the equipment. I'll post that link at the bottom of this as well. Thank you.